Picture digging into a plate of lasagna, only to crunch down on shards of glass. Sounds wild, but it's actually happened. And believe it or not, that's far from the most shocking reason certain packaged pastas were pulled from shelves. Back in November 2024, over 2,000 cases of stuffed pasta were pulled from shelves by Mama Mancini's. Why the recall? Because there was a risk the pasta had been tainted with dangerous Listeria bacteria. The voluntary recall targeted specific items: Mama Mancini's stuffed shells and Hungry Root ricotta stuffed shells. The FDA labeled it a Class 2 recall, which means the product could pose health risks, though the likelihood is considered low. Listeria has triggered several recalls before. That's because eating contaminated food can cause listeriosis, an infection that may bring on symptoms like fever, nausea, and diarrhea. While it's usually not severe, certain groups, especially older adults, face a higher chance of becoming seriously ill from the bacteria. Mama Mancini's wasn't alone. In 2024, Boar's Head also recalled products due to Listeria contamination. That case was far more severe, sparking an outbreak that hospitalized 57 people and led to 9 deaths. In response, the company pulled over 7 million pounds of deli meat from shelves across the US and beyond. In 2023, Whitson's Food Service Corp, based in New York, had to recall over 8,700 pounds of chicken alfredo pasta, not because of contamination, but due to a serious labeling oversight. The product contained egg, a common allergen, that wasn't listed on the packaging. That's a big deal, especially since egg allergies affect a significant number of people, particularly young children. In fact, studies show that about 1 in 100 kids under 5 have an allergy to eggs. For some, eating eggs may only trigger mild symptoms, but for others, it can lead to anaphylaxis, a severe, potentially deadly allergic reaction that can cause hives, difficulty breathing, and dangerous swelling. The mislabeled pasta had been distributed to multiple locations in New York and Pennsylvania, including schools. Thankfully, no allergic reactions were reported, and the issue came to light thanks to a vigilant customer. Whitson's wasn't alone that year. In a separate case, Whole Foods Market had to pull some of its salad kits off the shelves because they contained undeclared egg and milk. Safe to say, someone in the labeling department might have been having a serious office space moment.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
In 2021, Bellisio Foods, an Ohio-based company, recalled nearly 4,000 pounds of its spaghetti with meat sauce due to another case of label trouble. The affected product, sold under the Michelina's brand, contained soy that wasn't listed on the packaging. The mistake was serious enough to earn a Class 1 recall, meaning there was a real possibility that eating it could cause harm. Soy is one of the most common allergens, particularly among infants and young kids, though adults can be affected too. While many soy allergies result in mild symptoms, they can still be unpleasant. Things like nausea, stomach cramps, wheezing, dizziness, and hives. In more severe cases, soy can also trigger anaphylaxis, a potentially life-threatening reaction. Fortunately, no allergic reactions were reported in connection with the mislabeled spaghetti. Still, consumers were advised to either toss the product or return it to the store to stay safe. And this wasn't an isolated incident. In 2023, for instance, mozzarella sticks sold at Sam's Club were recalled after it was discovered they contained both undeclared egg and soy. Another major labeling fail occurred in 2020, when Nestlé had to recall over 29,000 pounds of its lean cuisine fettuccine alfredo. The problem? Customers started discovering pieces of chicken in a dish that was supposed to be meat-free, and the label made no mention of it. That raised 2 big concerns. Not only could it mislead vegetarians or those avoiding meat, but the unlisted chicken might have also contained soy, posing a risk to people with allergies. And that wasn't the only lean cuisine-related recall Nestlé faced that year. In a separate incident, the company pulled more than 92,000 pounds of its baked chicken meals after customers found something unexpected and disturbingly solid inside their food. What was it?
One word.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Plastics.
Yikes. Turns out, the culprit was most likely plastic that got into the chicken after parts of the manufacturing equipment broke off during production. Not exactly shocking, but still enough to make you think twice about trusting factory-made meals. And Nestlé's recall troubles didn't stop there. In the years after 2020, the company issued several more recalls. Among them, ice cream sold in Spain that tested positive for ethylene oxide, a chemical linked to cancer risk, Hot Pockets in the US that contained fragments of glass and plastic, and pizzas sold in France that were pulled over concerns about E. coli contamination. As it happens, Nestlé's track record with recalls stretches back quite a bit. In 2016, the company pulled over 267,000 pounds of its pizza and lasagna products due to concerns they may have been contaminated with glass.
Oh my God!
Pretty unsettling, right? The recall affected well-known brands like DiGiorno Pizza and Stouffer's Lasagna. By the time it was issued, classified as a Class 1 recall, the products had already been distributed to retailers nationwide. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. But glass contamination is no small issue. It can happen when equipment or tools break during processing, and it poses a serious risk because it's nearly invisible once it ends up in food. Not only is it hard to spot, but swallowing glass can result in painful mouth injuries. Or worse, internal damage that might require surgery. Nestlé's not the only big name to deal with this kind of issue. In 2023, Starbucks pulled bottles of its Frappuccinos from store shelves over concerns they might contain glass. That same year, Trader Joe's also issued a recall, this time for jars of instant cold brew, again due to potential glass fragments. And in 2022, Canadian grocery chain Loblaw recalled its lemon and ginger Sicilian soda for the very same reason. Besides the issues with undeclared soy, Nestlé also faced recalls over undeclared fish. In 2012, the company had to yank more than 16,800 pounds of lasagna off shelves because a packaging mistake meant the dish included a stuffed pepper sauce containing anchovies, something not listed on the label.
Sure seems fishy.
Fish allergies affect around 1% of people in the US. Unlike many other allergies, fish allergies often develop in adulthood. Studies show about 40% of cases begin in grown-ups. Common triggers include fish like anchovies, catfish, cod, and salmon, among others. It's important to note that fish allergies are distinct from shellfish allergies, which are caused by crustaceans and mollusks such as clams, oysters, crabs, and shrimp. The issue with the lasagna sauce was flagged after customer complaints, but thankfully, no allergic reactions were reported. The FSIS advised anyone worried about a possible allergic reaction after eating the product to get in touch with their healthcare provider. Thought Nestlé was off the hook? Not quite.
No.
Here's a blast from the past, a 2011 recall involving lean cuisine products and, yep, you guessed it, plastic contamination. The company pulled over 10,000 pounds of spaghetti and meatballs from stores near the Rocky Mountains after customers reported finding hard objects in their meals. As we've mentioned before, plastic in food is a serious safety hazard, but it's a surprisingly common reason for recalls. Most often, it happens when manufacturing equipment or packaging breaks down. Eating plastic can cause cuts in the mouth or internal injuries, and there's also the risk of choking, which is no joke. In fact, research from 2022 shows that choking was responsible for more than 5,000 deaths in the US. Fortunately, no injuries were linked to this particular recall, but the FSIS advised anyone worried about potential harm to reach out to their healthcare provider. Plastic contamination isn't limited to Nestlé either. For example, in 2022, Fresh Creative Foods recalled several products, including pasta, salad dressings, and noodles, across 20 states due to concerns about hard plastic pieces. All right, let's circle back to one of the biggest recurring problems in food recalls: mislabeling. By now, you've probably picked up that undeclared allergens, along with bacterial contamination, are among the top reasons for recalls in the US. In 2017, food giant Conagra Brands faced a major recall over undeclared milk in some of their products. Milk is one of the most common allergens after peanuts in the US. While reactions can be mild for many, in rare cases, milk allergies can trigger anaphylaxis. Because of the undeclared milk, Conagra had to pull more than 717,000 pounds of spaghetti and meatballs from stores nationwide. The products were sold under well-known labels like Libby's, Del Pino's, and High Top. Thankfully, the recall wasn't prompted by any allergic reactions, but rather by one of Conagra's ingredient suppliers, catching that the wrong breadcrumbs had been used. Conagra hasn't been new to the recall scene. In 2023, for example, they recalled over 245,000 pounds of chicken strips over concerns of plastic contamination, much like Nestlé's issues. Then there was the massive recall of more than 2.5 million pounds of sausages due to a packaging defect that could cause spoilage. And let's not forget the time they pulled over 119,000 pounds of P.F. Chang's beef and broccoli because of undeclared egg. Yep, egg again. In 2016, California-based homemade ravioli company recalled over 34,000 pounds of ravioli after it was found they contained undeclared pork and whey, both known allergens. By the time of the recall, these products had already been distributed nationwide. Interestingly, the problem wasn't flagged by customers or the company itself, but was identified during an inspection by the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service. Fortunately, no allergic reactions were linked to the mislabeled ravioli. Still, the FSIS advised consumers to avoid eating the product and instead either throw it away or return it to the store for a refund.
I want my money back.
Back in 2011, New Jersey's Bellisio Foods recalled about 161,000 pounds of pasta, but this wasn't your typical recall. The issue? The products had been made without the required federal inspection. Since these ravioli contained meat, including sausage and beef, they needed to be inspected to meet U.S. federal safety standards. FSIS inspections are crucial for several reasons. Inspectors ensure that animals are treated humanely, verify that they're healthy at slaughter, and confirm that the processing environment is sanitary. Unsanitary conditions or diseased animals can increase the risk of harmful bacteria entering the food supply. Routine inspections by the FSIS have prevented numerous food safety disasters. For instance, in 2010, more than 5.7 million pounds of beef and veal from Huntington Meatpacking were recalled after inspectors uncovered E. coli contamination and poor sanitary conditions. Similarly, in 2011, Cargill recalled over 36 million pounds of turkey following the discovery of salmonella during routine FSIS checks at their processing plant.